Hi everyone, this is Richard, CEO of altFINS. In this trading video, I will give you my thoughts on the latest market developments and my outlook in the near term, and I'll also cover several trade setups as well. Now, here's my current view of the market and the strategy. I'm cautiously bullish, and that means that I still think that the market is in the long-term uptrend and that we'll see new highs by year end. Obviously, near term, altcoins have pulled back and gave up a lot of their gains, recent gains. In fact, some have given up all of their gains, which is a good starting point for entering some new positions. And we're seeing some really nice bounce up recently off of very heavily oversold conditions. So let's take a look at the performance recently. Right? If you look at the month performance, we're still down for most of the assets, with some exceptions though, right? But in the last week or so, we have bounced back nicely, 10 to 20, even 30% gains. Shiba Near is up 28%, Internet Computer 20%, Hedera Hashbar is up 60%. We can cover that later. So we're seeing a nice bounce back, right? And we can see that in any of these charts really. We reached some really oversold levels. Now we've bounced back. Now, if you had followed our trading strategy that I highlighted in prior trading videos of maybe a week ago, trading strategy called Oversold at support, right? It's right down here. Oversold in uptrend or oversold at support. Then if you had used this strategy, you would have caught a lot of these gains as we did. And again, something that we shared in our VIP Telegram channel and also in our trading video. Now, this is also, by the way, a strategy that we teach in lesson 5 of our current latest crypto trading course as well. So I encourage you to check that out under crypto education right here. Lesson 5. All right, getting back to our market analysis. So what am I doing now that we've bounced back? Well, I still think that we have a few days of good momentum that's left ahead. We're just starting to see some buy signals from a bullish MACD crossover, right? When MACD line crosses above the MACD signal line, let's take a look at, in fact, let's take a look at some that have already had such bullish crossover. For example, Binance Coin, right? So the buy flag, which indicates that the MACD line has crossed above the MACD signal line, right? It's a fresh buy flag. So I still think that after very prolonged heavy selling period, that we're looking at an upswing in the near term, not only for this asset but in the market overall. I think there's still some juice left to the upside, although we're up from the low levels quite considerably, 20-30% in some cases. So I am still entering some new trades for assets that have not had such a big run. Let's take a look at technical analysis. For assets that are still close to their or near their support levels and have not bounced up as much, have not participated with the market as much, so they still have some upside. Assets like Bitcoin Cash, for example, but also FileNet is another one. where we can take a look at Bitcoin Cash. Right? It's in an uptrend, making higher high, higher lows, very solid uptrend, and pulled back, and it's bouncing off of the support zone here, but it still hasn't, covered a lot of the ground. I still think that there's upside to $600 potentially here, and we can cover that a little later. So I'm still, looking at some of these potential buys here, such as this one, and also even some pattern breakouts, some down channel breakouts that we've seen recently as well. Assets like Shiba Inu, IDEX, and even HBAR. Okay, but right, clearly some of this recent rally will at some point run out of steam, and we'll see a pullback before we hopefully swing back up again even higher. So I want to be cautious. I don't want to get caught with my pants down, so to speak, overly exposed on the long side, meaning having too many long positions. So what I want to do is balance out my long positions, assets that I own. I want to balance that out with some short sell positions, just in case the market rally ends prematurely and this momentum that we're seeing fizzles out. I want to be sort of protected just in case the market pulls back sharply. And I think in some cases, some of the assets have already run and bounced off quite a bit and are approaching some stiff resistance areas. I think there's good chance they will get rejected and pull back again. So I'm short selling assets where price is in a downtrend or is below the 200-day moving average, which is also an indication of a downtrend, but have bounced up and again are approaching a stiff resistance. These examples include XRP, Ripple, GMX, Decentralized or Mana, Kava, and also Trust Wallet, TWT. Let's take a look at here. Let's take a look at Kava, for example. Okay, Kava is in a downtrend on the short-term and medium-term basis, still in the uptrend on the long-term basis, but as you can see, price is below the 200-day moving average. It's pulled back. Let's look at the technical analysis that we've prepared. It's pulled back all the way to 55 cents now. It's bounced back, and it's approaching that 80-cent resistance, which is also a 200-day moving average, which also acts as a resistance, and it's also near the falling wedge resistance trend line right here, right? So this, when you see multiple resistance areas or levels converge, that makes for even a more important resistance zone and an area where I think this asset is likely to get rejected and pulled back. And so this is the kind of asset that I'm going to be short selling. That way I profit from that pullback, and I also hedge my portfolio that currently is heavy on long positions. So let's go ahead and get back to Bitcoin Cash. What's my trade setup here? Okay, as I mentioned, still it's in an uptrend. Let's take a look at the trend indicators. It's kind of neutral on the short-term, medium trend, but uptrend on the long-term basis. Now, if I just visually examine the chart, it looks very solid. Higher highs, higher lows, those are all characteristic of an uptrend. Pulled back to this support zone, which in the past acted as a resistance zone. It looks like it's bouncing back up. The momentum in terms of MACD is also improving. It hasn't quite inflected yet or broken into, or we haven't had the MACD crossover, but that's fine. That's still ahead of us. So we still have, quite a bit of momentum left ahead of us potentially, a nice upswing. I think that the price could revisit the $600 resistance zone. So from $500 or so currently, that's a 20% potential upside. Now I would place my stop loss just below this support zone. So below this 450, call it at 440 would be my stop loss. And if 440 is my stop loss and I buy it at 500, then my downside is about $60, but my upside is $200. I'm sorry, $100. So that's about a 1.7 reward to risk ratio. I'm potentially gaining 100 and potentially risking 60. And that ratio is about 1.7. Typically, I like to have a 2-to-1, so a bit higher reward to risk ratio than in this case. But I'll make a compromise or an exception here because I don't want to put the stop loss higher than the 440 because I think that if the price pulls back into the 450, 500 support zone, I don't want to be closing that position. I want to still stay in a position because that's still valid. I think this support zone is strong enough. All right, let's move on to another trading area that I like is Filecoin. Hi guys, the rest of the trading video is reserved for our loyal subscribers. So I encourage you to join thousands of traders who have already done so and are benefiting from our trading education course, as well as the premium tools to help them find profitable trading ideas every day. And if you join our annual or lifetime or education programs, you'll also get access to our VIP Telegram channel where we share our best trading ideas and tips. So I hope to see you there soon.